So I come in peace. For those anime manga fans, I'm not coming to trash on your game. And because I know that this game is pretty much, a done deal. For those who wanted this game, they've already paid for it, they've already bought it, and they're having fun with it. In fact, before I made this review, I took a few minutes to have a chat with my buddy that's an anime manga fan, and he said the game was fun, no doubt. Fighting in the game in Jump Force is actually a lot of fun. There's no two ways about it. You're going to enjoy the fun part of the fighting. And by now you've probably already bought this game, but I still want to give a review and, pretty much share my impressions about what I experienced over the course of this game. Now, this is a fighting game. It was marketed as a fighting game, from the Shonen series, which is very much targeted towards a certain demographics. So many people who are looking into Jump Force have been followers of the series, from Naruto to the anime to Dragon Ball Z, all of these cartoon and animated series. And now this game is supposed to be that celebratory kind of a peak in the 50-year shonen culture. And so I expected a lot from this game. And seeing Bandai Namco's name on it as a publisher, that was also one of the big things that actually kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I said, Bandai Namco's behind this. This is probably going to be something of a great game. And so coming to this game, I expected a lot more than I actually got. And I wanted to share that today because for the things that this game does good, it does a lot more in the not so great sense of things. Now, I've recently, in the past 3 months, actually not even 3 months, in the past 2 months, I recently played Tekken 7, Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat X, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So 4 fighting games, one of them also a Bandai Namco game as well. So Tekken 7 was well done. Impressive to me anyways. I mean, fighting games don't necessarily have a strong story, that some do and some don't, but the presentation of fighting game stories is actually where it's at, because yes, the story may be linear or straightforward, but one of the things that fighting games do well and have to do well is they have to present the material to be able to pull a new player into the series. So all these games that I played, I was a newcomer to all of them. I played Mortal Kombat back in the day on the Super Nintendo, didn't touch it for years until maybe Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, and then skipped all the way through MKX, which I didn't even play much of. So I'm a casual fighting game player. I'm one of those people who love fighting games, but we're not experts at it. There's a crowd of us. Hey, raise your hand if you're part of that group. Yeah, you know yourselves. We're not like Sonic Fox or the others. Instead, we're just the people who enjoy the content and sometimes want to try our hands on a few combos and all of that. And so I came into this game with a lot of expectation and curiosity. I didn't know what to expect. I'm not really a fan of the manga, and I'm not really a fan of Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, but I'm a gamer. So you put it in a video game, I want to play it. So that being said, let me put out my thoughts. Let me share with you what I've seen so far from this game. So let's get the not so strong aspects of this game out of the way. Now, I don't want to say bad, but I want to say not strong, because that's something being bad and something being not strong are two different things. And I would have expected a very, very solid, powerful landing for this game, especially with the name of the publisher. And I know, another company were the developers and Bandai Namco was a publisher, but there's a quality control that I feel like may have been missed. And so when you look at the overall story, it seemed like Jump Force was just running on plain fanfare. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I'm new to the series. I don't expect for a full encyclopedia of everything, but at least a coherent introductory aspect for, maybe each character. Maybe some characters would have been really helpful to pull me into and be interested in what exactly was going on. This isn't like, maybe this is probably like Injustice or the others, but I remember watching the Mortal Kombat story missions and the cutscenes, and it was able to actually tell me a few things behind that I actually had a story. Even though I was coming into Mortal Kombat 10, fresh, having skipped a lot of the other stories, I was able to still get some coherence. And so this game failed to do that for me. It failed to do that for a new player and gave me no reason or concern to actually want to play the game. And that's in 2019, you make a game for your hardcore audience and eliminate or pretty much sequester them to just the game, and you leave people that maybe could have actually bought into this franchise for the long haul, and now you've missed out on them. And so this is what Jump Force successfully did, alienated me from a lot of what was going on. And the sound and the voice acting are just poor. I don't know if they didn't necessarily want to emphasize that, because sometimes you actually had people voice acting and sometimes you had text as the means of communication. And so it was really weird. The immersion was all over the place, back and forth. And I'm expecting a $50 experience. And so is it too much to ask for full voice dialogues in every instance? Maybe that's too much, because the roster is super big and they are trying to introduce you to the roster, which is, you know, pretty much the same cycle mission. Go to this place, beat the Umbra out of this guy. You know, you're getting all these missions from Nick Fury over there, and he's giving you all these missions to go and fetch everybody and beat demons at the Umbra cube out of them, you know. And then every single time he gives you a mission with the bad voice acting from him and from the other characters, you fall into loading screens, a loading screen, a loading screen, and a loading screen. Now, yes, Bandai Namco has actually published a tweet saying that they're going to actually get some patches in there to improve load times and all of that. But that is the biggest part of this game where I think it's actually lacking, and that's in presentation. You see, the fighting is fun. I'm not gonna lie, some of the best fun I've had, I gave the controller to my little boy, my son, and he had a blast. I mean, oh my God, I'm probably gonna buy the game now because the kids already got into it, and I'm just gonna wait for a price point for the price to drop. I mean, he enjoyed it. We enjoyed the game. Every time you fight, it was always satisfying. If you had a clutch moment, it's one of the best and most satisfying clutch moments that I've seen in any fighting game. The characters and the graphics is beautiful. The effects are just terrific. I mean, it's marvelous. This game will blow your mind. Once you can get past the loading screens, though, that's exactly where I feel like the game is lacking. And with their name on there, I feel like they could have done, with Bandai Namco's name on there, I feel like they could have done a better job in presenting this game to the world. So what I think they did was just pretty much play on the hype and the fanfare that was already centered around the game, and they knew most of the community may care about the way the game actually is presented, and just want to fight with each other, or, you know, kind of learn the mechanics of the game. And that might seem okay in some sense, but the truth is, if you look at other Bandai Namco fight titles, or titles that have their names on it, that's not necessarily their standard. They actually have higher standards than this. And if you look at the other standards among other studios that also put out fighting games, the standards are actually higher. And so I'm very surprised that this game came out at this price point, and somehow we're expected to just accept this. And I don't want to bash the game. I still find myself actually getting a copy down the road for my little boy. But I'm really, really disappointed in how they presented such a valuable game. This game would have pretty much knocked the socks off of everybody that played it. But it seemed like they were just a little misplaced in how they were putting things together. I played the game. I probably played this game for maybe 17 hours, and most of my time was spent in loading screens. And then you had some instances where difficulty skyrockets out of nowhere, and the content is wanting to be prolonged, where you fight the same boss over and over again. I fought this guy that looks like Wesley Snipes on steroids. I fought him like 12 times. I fought him once, and then I fought him once, and I fought him once again, and his twin. It was kind of weird. It seemed like they didn't have anything else to make me do, and they had me fighting this dude over and over again. Maybe that's a plot point somewhere in one of the anime series and stuff, but plot points in books and comics, when adapted to a video game, I think have to at least cater to people who are not necessarily knowledgeable about the entirety of the plot. I mean, would you disagree? Wouldn't it be really weird if you picked up a fighting game that you couldn't even rally behind? I mean, the only thing I think that should turn you off from a fighting game should be maybe the fight mechanics, or some things that, you know, you're not really used to, or some things you just don't appreciate. I don't think the story or the progression should be what turns you off, because that's your introductory point to the game. I leveled up to 20. I mean, I fought and I learned the mechanics, and they were fun. I mean, Goku is a beast. Oh my goodness, the guy is untouchable. I enjoyed him because I could zone with him, I could combo with him. I could punish with him. It was really fun. I got to make my character, you know, I named him Bad Guy Beater, and I had a blast. But at the same time, as I was having a blast, I couldn't help but see how this was breaking the immersion every time. Skyrocketing difficulty, loading screens everywhere. And I've said these complaints. I don't want to be a downer. I know you already bought this game, and I know you love the game. And so in the future, what can Bandai Namco actually do better? You know, I don't want to critique this video and not actually put out some improvements, some valid points that I feel like the developers can actually make. I think next time, if they don't feel the need to put a story, then they actually don't need to put a story. And that way they can price the game at a better price point and actually have more solid content. So if this game was priced at $40 or $45 and you cut away a lot of the story and just give a maybe small introductory theme or something there, I feel like genuinely this game would have landed even better. So less could have been much more in a situation like that. But in this situation, more killed the whole thing for me. And then there's also news about the diversity of characters. That's not even important in this sense, because the shonen comics are actually targeted to young boys at a certain age. But there's going to be DLC coming out, and there's going to be a bigger roster, so they do some things right. Huge roster, and some more characters probably going to be implemented. Fun gameplay. I thought it was fun. I don't know if anybody tells you that it wasn't fun. I don't know what game they were playing, but the presentation and the progression was just, it broke your spirit. You sat there through loading times. I mean, 2 lines of text, and then they'll be loading. And then characters would flip back and forth, maybe just to help people just enjoy something to do. But I eventually got to the point where I had to go return the game. I just said to myself, this is just feeling like a waste of time. And I wish they could have cut out a lot of the dross. The game just had so much hype, fanfare, but the substance so far is not there. And that really breaks my heart, because I was expecting a lot for a game like this. And so I genuinely think they can roll out a fighting game without too much dross. They can roll out a fighting game with a 2-hour campaign. No one's going to complain, because the truth is, fighting games don't necessarily need a lot of padding around them. They just need to have solid mechanics and solid core gameplay. And I think Jump Force actually does that. But then it adds all this other extra stuff that probably the developers were not equipped to do, or didn't have enough time to actually execute, and hence put this game in a weird light where the review numbers are just absolutely terrible. And then we can't even go ahead and talk about online play, because people have been experiencing issues. Look at Steam, look at the reviews, and that's probably one of the key strong points a lot of people wanted to engage in. So could they have cut away from a lot of the silly progression and actually fortified good servers, good gameplay? Yes. And so next time they can do things like that. So these are my impressions, and this is my review of Jump Force. If you have any comments, anything you want to add, if you disagree, whatever it is, or if you agree, please leave in the comment section below. I just want to have a conversation. I'm new to this. You guys are probably the pros, and I've been looking for a fighting game to get into. I mean, look how many fighting games I played in the past month, because I'm searching for a game that I can rally around. And this game definitely isolated me from the pack. And so what do? I've sent the game back to where it came from. And hopefully these creators or these developers and publisher can put out a beautiful game, but present it in a better way. Thank you very much for watching this video.